Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of the Extreme Time for Business show. Today, we will talk with top representative of the Polish market, the largest insurance market in the Central and Eastern Europe. And we hope that together we will manage to show you how the Polish market fared through a very difficult 2020, challenged by the crisis, but also challenged in the good way because it forced a lot of improvement in the insurance operations. So I am very pleased to present you together with me in the show today, Mr. Jan Grzegorz Prądzyński. He is president of the Polish Insurance Chamber, and he will help us to find out how the Polish insurers fared this difficult period. First of all, give us some comments, some general comments of yours about the market results last year.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me for this interview. Well, that was a very, very challenging year. And I think it was not only in the Polish market, but all over the world. And of course, it was the year which impacted very heavily also our industry, though the insurers were perhaps a little bit less touched by the crisis, we can say. Due to mobility, we showed, and we will perhaps talk a little bit more about it later, we managed to maintain our gross written premium nearly at the same level as last year. It means Polish market, it's 63.5 billion euros, and it's nearly comparable to 2019. So actually, we noticed that fortunately, Polish people maintained their protection. They were willing, they wanted to pay for the insurance. And on the claim side, well, there was actually, we didn't see, when we look at the whole year, we didn't see any difference. The difference was, of course, in the profit, which dropped by roughly 15%, 16%. That was reflecting the increased cost that we had, and also we paid more, especially in the life insurance. So globally, this year showed that the Polish insurance market is stable, don't really fall down, and we are very happy about it.
Would you say that this crisis resulted not so much in a loss of business, but maybe in a loss of growth opportunity or delayed growth opportunity?
That we don't know exactly, because as you know, the insurance follows the cycles, economic cycles, and is very dependent on the condition of the market, of the economy. So we hope we will recover quickly, but we don't know. Sure, there was no increase, but you know, when you look at the economy and you look at the other businesses, which fall sometimes 20, 30%, we should consider ourselves very happy and privileged.
Well, this is very good. You were talking earlier about claims, and I have a questions for you related to the motor insurance claims. We all remember that images of empty roads, and during the first lockdown at least. And of course, reduced road traffic led to less road incidents and, of course, claim files. But in many countries, it was reported that despite the lower number of claims, the average value of them increased. And in the end, despite having much less in terms of number of claims, the values paid were not very much different as compared to the previous years. Is it the same in Poland? Can you comment a little bit about the causes eventually?
Exactly the same in Poland. We had a less frequency of the accidents, road accidents, but the average claim was much higher. We think that that was due to the, what we can say, reckless driving. Unfortunately, in Poland, we made a survey which shows that people actually don't care so much about speeding. They consider that, well, if you, about 1/3 of people we have asked consider that 20 kilometers more than the speed limit, it's nothing important. And some even 30 kilometers, 20% of the people asked said 30 kilometers more. It's not a big deal. So that shows that people drive a little bit recklessly, which is in the normal times, they cannot speed so much, so because there are traffic jams and so on. And during the pandemic, there was less cars on the roads, so people were driving dangerously, recklessly, and that provided that each accident was much more heavy in consequences than normally. So unfortunately, it's the same pattern all over the world in the other countries as well. And that's what we've been thinking on the beginning, that the number of claims will make that the amount of money paid out will be less. And eventually, when we look at whole year, it's about the same amount as in 2019.
Well, empty roads are tempting for those interested in racing a little bit. And that might also lead to accidents with big bodily injuries or more victims. And it leads me also to another question about the influence that the pandemics had on your life insurance business. Have you seen some changes in this respect, both in what it concerns the customers' behavior, their willingness to acquire life insurance or to maintain their policies, and in terms of indemnities paid?
Well, in life insurance, situation was a little bit particular because people maintained their insurance, but the payouts were much higher. And of course, increase of the mortality impacted the life insurance in Poland. Though we will see that, especially in 2021, because we have a very high mortality this year. It's end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter that mortality started to increase. So yes, the life insurance was impacted by pandemia, and not so much when we talk about the gross written premium, but especially what we paid out to our clients.
Given the volatility introduced in economical terms, you have seen some changes in people's determination to maintain their life insurance. Have you witnessed some trend in the surrenders of policies or something else? Or Polish people are still determined to save and have their money for an elder age.
Yes, we didn't notice much difference, which is, we can say, good, because again, that was not the year we should expect increases. That was the year that we should be happy if the business maintain itself at the normal level. So people didn't surrender, but there was no increase as well. So it was a difficult. We have been thinking that it will be more difficult than eventually it was in the life insurance.
Well, this is anyway. I would say it's a good news, and I would also like to ask you about health insurance. I would expect that this whole situation draw people's attention towards protecting health and financing their healthcare. What impact have you seen on the health insurance segment?
On the beginning of the last year, we have made a survey asking people how they feel about health insurance in the pandemic, and would they consider buying it if they don't have it, or maintain if they have already. And the responses were that nearly 30% said that yes, they consider to buy new health insurance and that they want to maintain. People were asking especially about the access to the specialists where the public system cannot provide anymore because it was saturated. Then they were hoping that the private sector will help them. We have to know that in Poland, it's already 3.3 million Poles that have the health insurance. And it's about 8.5% more than the previous year, which shows that there is a progress. We have, it's about, in terms of the gross written premium, it's about 940 million zlotys, which is about 5.2% more than previous year. So Polish people are interested by the health insurance, but we have to remember that the health insurance is closely related to the public health system. And it's up to the state to make the architecture about health insurance, how the health insurance can be working together with the public system. Actually, we should help the public system and not be only on top of that. Unfortunately, that means that you need huge changes. And in Poland, after even 30 years after communism, Polish people consider that everything in the health should be free of charge. So it is actually, only the problem is that we arrive to the end of the possibilities of the system, which means there is not enough money in the public system. Increases are very difficult to make because you cannot raise all the time taxes, and or you cannot raise all the time the charges which employees are paying. So we are working with at least we try to persuade our legislator to make changes that the private health system will be complementary and be a part of the health protection system in Poland. So we will see how quickly it can happen. I think already the legislators start to see that without the private sector, it will be difficult to increase the quality of the health service.
Well, more or less, I think that the situation is somehow the same all over across our region. Probably these mentalities will change only with generations. But in addition to this question, I would like to ask you something more, because usually in our countries, private health insurance is seen as a mean of getting higher quality medical services and getting them faster and easier than in the public system. And during this period of the last year, I read numerous news coming from your market about the improvements that health insurance have made in terms of telemedicine services available for the insured, and not only, and other things that might improve quality. Can you give us some hints? What were the main changes in this direction, the main progress?
We have to know that they are actually in the private system, private health protection. Mm-hmm. We have two different ways of purchasing it. One is an insurance, and the other are the prepaid services within the providers of the health system. So you have the companies who sell the prepaid services, especially to the companies, not so much to the private people, but mostly as a benefits to the companies which offer that to their employees. So pandemia showed one thing which is very important for us as insurers. It means at one point, health providers, even private, arrive to the a little bit limits of its possibilities. And insurers shows, the private insurance, health insurance, showed its superiority, if we can say that. Because our clients calling us were not linked to only one health provider, but we were health service provider. We had whole group of the service providers we've been working. So our clients could get the access to the services much easier. And that was one thing which is very important to us now to think how we can promote that actually this was the best advantage. So because of that, actually we offer to our clients much better service, and I'm pretty sure that clients will remember that, and the future of the health insurance in Poland is pretty good.
Well, I will count that on the positive side of the crisis, let's say. And with that, I would kind of ask you to move to another topic. And this one, it's related to the housing protection through insurance against natural catastrophes, because pandemics or not, the climate change is already present and having an impact of the frequency and severity of the weather-related events. And as far as I know, Poland is one of the very few countries in our region where the protection gap in this respect is lower, let's say. How would you comment on that? Do you think that Polish citizens are enough protected against the climate change effects?
No, I don't think so. It means it's nice to hear that we have a less smaller protection gap than the other countries, but I don't really believe that we still have enormous work to do. With the climate changes and the catastrophe risk management, we can say the most important is the collaboration between government, country government, local governments, and the insurance sector. We are trying to do that, especially now when the green wave is coming. We try to persuade people to have the protection. It's especially when we talk about the droughts. We work with the legislator trying to show them that we have to make the drought plans, have the areas where you cannot build houses and so on. And it starts, but the subject is very complicated because when you have the areas where you know that each year they will be flooded and still people are building their houses there, then something is not right. So a lot of work to do. The work on the countryside with crop insurance should be intensified. We have some solutions, but still it's an enormous work to do. So it's how to say, it's a work on a government side, local government side, and the insurance, because we have to rethink all the special protection, all the how we can prevent before the catastrophe happens. Fortunately, we don't have the earthquakes in Poland because that's a really difficult part of the business.
Speaking about protection of the population for these weather-related risks, make me think that, in fact, insurance is a business with a very strong social character. It's meant to protect people and businesses from dealing with dramatic and sometimes irrecoverable financial losses when some risks are materializing. Would you say that in this special situation of the last year, Polish insurers have fulfilled their customers' expectation and have provided for enough support for their customers to help them go through this special situation?
Yes, we as the industry and the Polish Chamber of Insurance on the beginning of the pandemic, starting in March last year, we've been working very hardly to help our customers. And very quickly, all the industry agreed on 14 recommendations, which we have presented. They were covering motor insurance, our clients who have the motor insurance, also those who have mortgage loans to help them, holders of the investment and the saving insurance as well. So, but also to operators, also our partners such as garages and all the other businesses involved, also towards medical personnel. For example, when there was a car accident, medical personnel had absolute priority in the claim settlement, and we've been helping them, providing the spare cars and such things. So it was it was very well perceived by the Polish people. Lot of people have seen this effort of the industry, but also in October, when we've seen that there is a next wave of the COVID coming, we have financed the call center, helping the government call center. And it was 18 Polish companies who financed hundreds of consultants working day and night till the end of April, answering thousands of telephones per day and helping people answering the questions. It was a very, very big effort on our industry to do that, but we consider that we have to help Polish society.
Well, I would count this again the positive outcome of this situation, and I think I can reach to another one, because everybody agrees that the pandemic situation and the lockdown and the need to settle this system of working from home acted like a catalyst, driving the very fast digitalization in the industry, and a lot of technological progress was made. And what I would like to find out from you is your opinion on what progress was achieved in your market that will last long term, that in fact will actually change a little bit the way that insurers are doing business from now on as compared to the previous period?
Yeah, well, before pandemic, it was insurers were not considered as a leaders in the digital business or even technologically. We have been a very traditional business, and our way of doing the business was very traditional. And when it came, when the lockdown started, actually we switched from the traditional way of doing business to the digital in 1 week. That was incredible how quickly the Polish industry managed to do that. And we have to remember that our business is much more difficult in terms of the procedures than, for example, banking, because like a core of our business, it's not selling insurance actually, but the core is helping people. It's a claim settlement. Is our action when people need it. So and doing that digitally in a very swift way and without any lack of quality, that was a challenge. And we proved that we can do it. We proved that every company in Poland managed to switch very quickly to the telework and the digital and without loss of the quality. So when we compare when we add to that all the sales forces also switched very quickly and swiftly to the digital work, then all our industry showed that we are not so much technically behind, and we can even say that we are technically today much more advanced than perhaps other parts of the financial market.
Young generations of customers are representing each day a larger and larger part of the customers, and we all know that most of them are familiarized with a sort of servicing, online servicing, which brings everything to 1, 2, 3 clicks distance. And this was not characteristic of the insurance industry before. Things were not so easy to solve online in insurance. Do you think that now, after all these changes, the industry is somehow closer to meet these expectations of the new generations of customers?
Well, yes and no. It's more tricky than that because young generation don't buy insurance, so they like click and do the things in 3 clicks, and they do it very easily with the banking with the banks and their systems. But with insurance, when they arrive to the age they buy insurance, suddenly, at least on the Polish market, and what I see, the Western Europe, it's similar apart Great Britain, where they are very advanced and they like this online sales. So the biggest challenge was to be digital, to change the way of working, but in the same time to offer to the clients what they want. And this what they want in Poland, especially in insurance, is a human contact. They need advice. They need to buy insurance, not in internet, but they want to have somebody who help them. So all our agents went also digital. All our agents were helping online clients to buy the insurance. And it proved, it was difficult, but it proved to be efficient. We, as a Polish Chamber of Insurance, we've been struggling on the beginning with our legislator because the laws were not really adapted to that way of work. But I have to say that Polish legislator also did a great work and help us to do the things. And we know there is a data protection law. There is so many things in insurance which put on us the demands to fulfill. And but we managed to change some laws. We managed to help our industry to work online, but still in the same model, with the model of the agents selling the insurance.
Well, so human touch remains very important in this business. What are your expectations? So we are close to the end of our discussions, and I would like to know from you, what are your expectations for this year? We are well in 2021 already, 5 months already in the year. What do you expect for the end year, both in financial terms and if there are some changes in the regulations expected in general?
Well, when we've been thinking about this year, we couldn't think that the first 4 months of this year will be so difficult. It means actually, when we look at it, it's more difficult than it was last year. So of course it will impact the results of this year. I hope that very soon the population will have the vaccine, big enough part of the population, and so the pandemic will start to end slowly. And everything is in a question how quickly Polish economy will recover. We think pretty quickly. We hope that it will be pretty quickly. And we hope that the insurance will not be affected as much. We have to remember that we are in all the crises. Insurance industry is a stabilizer of the economy, and like an anchor. So we hope that as we depend on the economy, on the companies, on the wealth, on the how the companies are performing, then I think with the quick recovery, our industry will do pretty well this year.
Well, this is an optimistic closing of our discussions. We also hope that things will come back to a normal situation as soon as possible. We also miss the human contact, both in what is concerned the meeting with our guests in our shows, and hope we will have the opportunity to meet you in person as soon as possible. Till then, thank you very much for your participation today. And to our viewers, thank you also for being with us. Please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, where you will find throughout the year a lot of interesting things and guests. And see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.